Okay, so this is my 12th episode, so I figured I might as well do something special, right? I mean, it's not like it's my 100th episode. That would be like really freaking special, right? Okay, maybe I better stop saying right. Anyway, in today's episode of the show, something I've been wanting to do for a while is kind of show behind the scenes, behind the curtain, if you will. Yeah, that curtain's kind of ruffled a bit. Can you fix that? All right, I guess I could fix that curtain more permanently, but I'm filming now, so that's how that's going to work. Anyway, I'm hoping that a lot of people are watching this new show that I'm doing, but just to let you know, I'm still doing gadget reviews, in case you haven't realized that. I actually kind of prefer to do this type of show because I can really talk about anything I want. But yeah, enjoy the gadget reviews and enjoy what I talk about here. Next week I'm planning, or maybe 2 weeks, because lately I've noticed I can put out an episode of Geek Church the show every 2 weeks, but I'm planning on doing a show about underrated versus overrated. And I'm probably going to talk about the Pixar movies. All 27 of them. All right, the easiest thing I can do is just simply talk about the process that I have in reviewing. Now, my first step is to simply just talk about how I get the goods that I get to review. This is a question that I see often asked. All right, and unfortunately, this part I can't really reveal in its entirety just due to simple trade secrets and stuff like that. I will say that sometimes stuff ends up at my doorstep and I don't even remember asking for it. So that is a thing that does happen. Needless to say, I really love it when a box comes to me, and I often, this is gonna just sound kind of weird, but when something comes to me, I'll often hesitate before I open it because it's just a nice little thing that I get that feels very rewarding when I open it. And since I have a lot of work to do during the day, I often save that reward at the end of the day when I feel like my work has been done. It kind of motivates me to do my work. I don't know if that makes any sense to you. But yeah, you can watch a recent video I did on TikTok just showing me having fun opening these stuff. It's kind of like a little Christmas that I have. Okay, speaking of Christmas, I should probably talk about why I'm doing an episode like this. Well, it's September at the time of this recording, which means we're about to head into the holiday season. And these days, the holiday season comes up earlier and earlier. It seems like when I go into Walmart at around September, usually they're tearing down the lawn and garden section to prepare for Christmas. And some Halloween stuff thrown in there too. But Halloween and Christmas, they actually get kind of thrown in the mix now. And this is the time where I get sent the most amount of stuff to review. This is sort of like, oh, I don't know, kind of like an Olympics, essentially, of when I'm doing my videos. So I'm doing this video not only for you, the viewer, anybody can watch it and hopefully be entertained, because I would like to think I'm entertaining. But this is also informative as far as like just letting companies know, PR companies know what I do and what I intend to do when getting a product. So yes, once I receive a product, usually the first step is like checking it out, taking the plastic off. And that's usually a step I omit when I'm doing my video reviews because do you really need to see me cut plastic off something? Is that fun? I mean, unboxing, I have to put a little spin on, but just removing plastic, there's just certain things that are so mundane they don't even look good on video. Yeah, so once I get a product, there's usually some off-camera time where I look at the product itself, kind of maybe set up in my head what the review will be like, and if necessary, start the article on it. Yeah, I should probably talk about that, because with every video I do, I always have a joining article. I'm not sure if adjoining is the right word. Yeah, with every video I do, I always have an article on my website, TheGeekChurch.com, which explains certain facts about it, and a lot of those facts can be easily obtained just by opening the box and just checking out what's inside. And yeah, a lot of my videos, I do have this disclaimer where I say, I I've already unboxed this before, or sometimes I'll throw in the occasional like, you know what, I've never unboxed this, so this is going to be a surprise. And I've said those things a few times that honestly I don't really feel like making a montage out of it. I mean, I've seen so many movies and TV shows where a character says that they never do something, and then they show like three different examples of what it looks like. Each one sort of escalates. You know, like the frickin' Family Guy cutaway gag. They do that all the time with three different examples. Giggity giggity giggity, alright. What the deuce? Sorry, my wife tells me that I should probably try more voiceovers. Eat your hat hurt, Seth MacFarlane. Okay, now there are times where I've got several items of the same type, so when I open them up, I kind of know what to do because I reviewed something similar to it. You know, like if I get a case, I'll usually just kind of open it up. I usually don't have the phone that goes along with the case because I can really only afford one phone, honestly. Unless I actually have the phone it's made for, then it gets kind of different, but those are kind of hard to do, and yeah. In fact, I have several cases this week that have come in for the iPhone 15, and so I'll be looking at those here. You can check those out here a little later. And I do get a lot of flack on my comments. There are some people that just say, is this really a review, or you didn't even really try it out? Actually, I got a review by some commenter who said, like, this is the worst review I've ever seen, and I would know. I mean, no advice on helping me make it better, just some troll just spouting out stuff from underneath this bridge. Geez, I'm really venting out a lot in this episode, aren't I? So yeah, I don't really have a script when I'm doing these reviews, but did you really need me to tell you that? Okay, there have been exceptions to this rule. Sometimes I have an idea of what I want to do, and I have a very detailed script because there's a lot of technical aspects involved. Like, for example, when I was reviewing these Apple Watch bands, I did this whole commentary in the Book of Boba Fett where I had to go back and forth. That was a lot of fun. There was another one I did with JVC earbuds where I actually did that effect where I was like talking to myself, and but there were two images of me in the same frame. Never really done anything like that. Never really worked a lot with special effects, so that was like a really cool moment for me just to see that. All right, hopefully I got enough footage of that so you can see that. I put the links, but I've had issues with that because there's only a certain amount I can do and when I'm doing links, and I'm going to be referring to a lot of things when I'm doing this thing. So yeah, there's probably no links to those videos that I just referenced, so look them up because I can't really put the links in there. Thanks, YouTube. No, seriously, thanks, YouTube. Without you, I wouldn't have had this amount of subscribers and no platform to put these things that I do. So that was sarcasm when I said thanks, YouTube. So don't demonetize me or remove my account, please. I meant that, by the way. Anyway, I don't really have a model or anything like that I do when I review. I mean, granted, the article has a certain format that it does that, yes, I just copy and paste the outline in there so I can just put it in there. And you can check out my articles if you want to see what exactly that format is. I see no real point in talking about it. But yeah, the fun of this job is the spontaneity of it. And since I don't really like spontaneity, I'm one of those type of persons that doesn't really like surprises. Even if it's something I like say for example, like I wanted to see a movie and I plan to see the movie on Thursday, but on Tuesday you come to me and say, hey, we can see that movie tonight. Honestly, I've probably already made plans then, and then it just becomes like, I'm kind of doing this too early. Boy, we're really just going off on tangents left and right here. Anyway, so I don't have a format when it comes to reviewing a product. I just like opening it up, trying it out, because I think if I had too solid of a format doing that, that could ruin it. Plus, I don't know if I ever really planned to be a tech reviewer. It's certainly what I do and use on my resume the most, but I kind of got into this thing by accident. Oh, have I never told this story? Okay, I mentioned this in my first episode, but I used to be this guy that would write for about tech on tech and gadget websites, which were very popular in the mid-2000s. Yeah, you ever heard of websites like Engadget or Gizmodo? Well, I didn't write for them. I wrote for a lot of their imitators, but oftentimes I used them as a source. And sometimes they would use me as a source, so what comes around goes around, I guess. Anyway, there came a time where I swear I was writing like 20 articles a day for this, and I was getting paid peanuts for it, but you could make a good living off it if you were willing to work a little hard. And so I would have like an RSS feeder, and I would be looking at all the articles that a certain tech gadget website would do. And then if they were writing about something and I said, you know what, I want to write about that product too, I'd often bookmark it, and then I'd go back to it, and then I would just be like, okay, time to write my articles. And I think at the time I started writing for these tech and gadget blogs. That was like in 2005 or 2006. The iPhone hadn't even been introduced yet. So much has changed since then. So yeah, I was writing articles oftentimes about non-smartphones, and I don't think at the time I even owned one back then. Crazy. So yeah, I'd write about technology, and I'd try and put my own spin on them as much as I could. And I'd like to think that I'm pretty creative, and I kind of always had a thing for inventions and gadgets, so it was pretty simple to write for. So yeah, I mean, I started the Geek Church kind of in 2009. Then I may be a geek, but I'm not one of those really technical geeks that knows their stuff. I'm not the guy to call if your computer isn't working, okay? I don't know that stuff. Okay, exposition over. There was one time when I was writing for a website called Coolest Gadgets, which at the time was one of the biggest gigs that I had, even though they paid very little, but it was the most steady gig I had that I kept on for about 5 years. And essentially, I don't know how, but somebody had figured out who I was, and they contacted me because they wanted me to do a hands-on review of one of their products. And when that happened, I went like, okay, I've never done that before, but I'm willing to give something a try. And I think the first company that contacted me was a company called Wonder Games. That name really sticks out to me, but I did a search for that to see if this company is still in business. And as far as I know, they're not. Maybe you want to leave a comment if they are. But they made these board games that had a lot of technology in them. And for the life of me, the sad part about writing for those tech blogs is that a lot of them went out of business, and so a lot of my content just vanished. So yeah, I wish I could look this up to see what it was. Yeah, it's a real shame about being a tech reviewer and writing stuff that has a very small shelf life, is eventually your work gets kind of discarded and forgotten. Well, that got kind of negative. Let's get to the positives here. Anyway, so Wonder Games sent me these cool board games to review, and when I wrote the articles, I thought, wow, that was the easiest article I've ever written. I mean, most of the time when I was writing articles, I would just take what other sources had to say about them, and then I'd have to sort of put my own little spin on them, and sometimes there had to be a certain word count that I would have to do, but if the article that I've sourced from only said like maybe 100 words about this, I gotta make up something. Sometimes I was able to put in the specs for it to just create more words, which I guess creates more interest in the algorithm and search engines. I don't really still know how this works. Anyway, to often fill in the word count of something, which in many cases was like 200 to 300 words, it was just easier to do when I actually had the product with me and I could talk about my experience with it. I'd fill up words in no time. In fact, I'd have to trim the article down oftentimes when I was done. Anyway, I talk about my experiences writing for tech blogs in the first episode, which I really should redo because the audio is so shoddy. Geez, I'm just going off on everything in this thing. It's like I'm Robin Williams or something like that, just stream of consciousness. Okay, it's not too soon to compare myself to Robin Williams, right? I mean, yeah, I just, maybe it's even it's too much of a stretch for me to even compare myself to that guy, because he was a master, okay? Yeah, I think I'd prefer if you guys compared me to Robin Williams rather than me comparing myself to Robin Williams, because I don't think I cut it. Oh. So yeah, I just kept getting a lot of emails from a lot of companies that would just say like, hey, please review our product on your website. And Wonder Games was the first to do it, and they were not the last. And that's when I realized like, hey, this is kind of fun writing about electronic products and stuff like that, consumer electronics. And I want to even have more fun. And I think that's where I just got started on this gadget review thing. And yeah, I started getting more and more representatives would contact me, and I would contact them, and I would get stuff from time to time. And yeah. Now, this is back when I was a full-time freelance writer, and I'm not really doing that now. Maybe I might do that again. Anyway, so I think I might have said this, but I started the Geek Church in about 2009 as my own little tech and gadget blog, so I could do product reviews and talk about stuff that I wanted to talk about. As far as the YouTube channel goes and my TikTok, there's this good story behind that. And have I never told that story either? Well, it all began with... I'm kind of hoping to do something like that. I don't know if I have the thing that allows me to do that, or the sound effect with the thing, but hopefully maybe I'll find it. Anyway, I have this friend who has this business, and this business is called Pullman Marketing. I've talked about Pullman Marketing before, and yes, this guy at his business had a guy who had a camera and basically wanted some video footage. And this guy was willing to allow me to do video reviews of products and didn't charge me for it, which was awesome. And at the time, I figured tech blogs and stuff like that by 2008 or 2010, that was kind of starting to be an antiquated notion because with the advent of YouTube and stuff like that, we were really getting more into these actual video footage rather than written footage. But honestly, I didn't really know how to do video reviews, and at the time, anytime when you're doing something, it seems very hard. And it seemed really hard to me, who is, as I mentioned before, very addicted to traditions and systems and routines. And so anytime I'm doing anything for the first time, it often seems like a juggernaut. So if you remember my first reviews, they were filmed in very different rooms, and they looked a lot better because they were done pretty professionally. In fact, there used to be this long desk that I could just put out a product and open it and stuff like that, and hoping to bring back something very similar to that in the near future. But basically, that space in that particular instance, that was the office space for Pullman Marketing. And I used to work at Pullman Marketing. And yes, I say used to, and I want to take a little moment to explain this. Some of you probably remember in my letters series how I was talking about how I used to work at the Walmart Electronics. And that was really good for my business because I got to experience some of the newer tech out there, and I was able to contact all of these companies for me to review it. About a year ago, and I discussed this in my letters series, I had to leave Walmart. They were asking me to, they were going to do something that I felt was very unfair, and I could not stay there if they were going to hold to their decision. Needless to say, almost a year ago, to this day, I quit Walmart and decided to, and was kind of looking for work that I could do that was kind of like the work that I do when I review electronic products, because Pullman Marketing was very nice for them to set up a studio where I could have that platform. And I was trying to do a lot of videos at Pullman Marketing from home because I was starting to get a lot of products in, specifically during the holiday season. And then it's a constant review kind of thing that happens. So in about February of this year, Pullman Marketing hired me to do content for a certain project, and I'm not really certain if I can talk about that. And unfortunately, the funds for that project kind of ran out unexpectedly, and they had to let me go. And just to let you know, this is the easiest being let go I've ever had. I kind of felt like, okay, the money's probably going to run out, but at the same time, I had a valuable experience working with Pullman Marketing, and don't hold any resentment toward anyone there. Because I feel like it was such a good experience, and it was able to allow me to work part-time so I could keep going with this. So yeah, my experience at Pullman Marketing was great. And I don't intend to do like Letters I Wish to Have Written Part 5 where I talk about Pullman marketing. I'm not going to do that. I mean, I love the people at Pullman marketing, and I agree with their decision as far as like if they didn't have the money and they couldn't afford to keep me, I understand. That's is business. That has to happen. So yeah, I'm at the same point I was last year where essentially I got to figure out, okay, what am I going to do here to make money? It's a little disconcerting, yes, but at the same time, I know that the holiday season is happening and I want to review a lot. So yeah, if you're a company, a PR company, or a tech company, you should know that I'm going to be contacting you sometime in the holiday season to review some stuff. And even if I'm not working, and even if I'm doing this just full time, the holiday season can be very busy as far as getting all this stuff coming in to review. I mean, first of all, you have to make sure that you're getting stuff. Then you have to actually review this stuff. And then you actually have to make sure you have more stuff to review in the next few weeks. It can be a bit much sometimes. And I'm glad that I can focus on it for the next few months until CES, where I'll just go to Vegas and get more contacts, and this whole process kind of repeats itself. So you might have noticed that with my videos, there are certain patterns here. Like I usually have that cold open where I reveal the product, oftentimes putting a little title in the corner to say what the product is. And then I have that little title card that I have, and followed by some segue to talk about the review. And this is where I sort of say like, oh, we've reviewed this stuff from the company before. Or, wow, we've never reviewed this product from this company before. Or, we've reviewed similar products to this from this other company. Anyway, you get the point. I have some sort of segue like that. Then it's the unboxing, taking out all the stuff, talking about it, coming up with clever quips that I can, which honestly... So yeah, what I really like is when I have a product that I can just simply get out of the box, get it to work, do what it's supposed to do right away. Those are always great. I seem to recall a product I did from Hubble Connected, which was like a nursery or baby cam or something like that. And that one was just great because I got it out of the box, was able to set it up, and you could do it in minutes. And honestly, I can't really give a better review of any product that when you get it up out of the box, that you can just do it and do what it's supposed to be doing in seconds. And yeah, I try and give as good of a demonstration of a product as I can. Often talk about the problems that I might have had when I was using it. And yeah. And there are products that I just couldn't get to work, and I just decided to do the video anyway. Emphasizing the product that as far as like, okay, I can get your product to work. I think there's 2 video smartphone watches that I just really couldn't get to work that I've just had on the back burner like for way too long. I'm probably going to put out that review this week, so if you want a good example of that, just wait. And there are times I try and put some creative spin on something, and since I'm just really getting used to this video technology, most of it's pretty straightforward, but occasionally I really like doing some cool stuff. And that cool stuff can just be walking around the house and doing the video at different places, or just going someplace different to do a video. There's that one video I did where I just smashed a phone because it was like it told me I could, so I did. So yeah, basically, and then I usually put at the end the price of the item, so in case you're interested in buying it, you know the price of it. And then, of course, in my article, there's a link to it on Amazon, because you might as well be an Amazon affiliate because they have everything, don't they? And then pretty much ending the video with your standard something I've got, which to ask you to like and subscribe, which I probably should do at the beginning of the video rather than at the end, because I don't know, maybe I'd get more subscribers, because yeah, I'll be honest, that is my goal. I'm hoping to get like over 1,000 subscribers by the time I go to CES in January of 2024. I would like that, and I've got about over 560 right now, and that number slowly climbs, but I'd really like it to quickly climb, please. Alright, this would be a good time for me to talk about how I do the videos. I use in case you're ever curious about this, I use a program called Clipchamp. At first I was using like some sort of movie maker that came with Microsoft, and then one day I just was doing a video and noticed that that movie maker had been replaced with Clipchamp. I have no idea where this program comes from. And some of you can probably remember the videos that I used to do on this show because they were really bad looking. I would just do them in one take, and the audio and video might not be the best quality. Now I've kind of updated, and I've got like a tripod which has a light on it, which you can see reflected in my glasses all the time. And also I use this Bluetooth headset, or a Bluetooth headset, just to get the audio right, just so it sounds good, because hey, I want you guys to, even though I'm not a professional, at least this technology exists to make even the most amateur sound professional. I think I also use something called a smart mic, which came in really handy at CES last year. And if I really want to capture it, and you can tell a smart mic because it's usually around here when I'm wearing it. As far as my videos go, I'm using my smartphone for them. It's got pretty good resolution and good capture ability, and it's very good. Now occasionally I'll use a webcam. I find that the video quality of that webcam just isn't as good as my smartphone. And comparing to that footage to that is sometimes it's night and day. Also, the webcam, sometimes I have to find that I have to turn up the volume a lot on my voice, because I try and speak loud, but I don't try and speak too loud. It's something that I try and do every day to make sure like nobody gets the wrong impression that I want to speak in the loudest voice so that people can hear me and they don't have to go, what? Or they think like I'm mumbling or something like that. But at the same time, I don't want to be like, I'm very loud right now, kind of thing, just because that is really just, you don't want to hear that. I also use a GoPro occasionally when I'm doing reviews, because when I did a review of my scooter, that just was handy. A GoPro is great for getting just very active and fast footage, and since with a fisheye lens, it gets kind of the curvaceous things around the side, but and also sometimes the audio isn't as good. So yeah, but I highly recommend GoPros if you want to get one for yourself or making your own footage, because it's great. Anyway, so I usually put my clips in chronological order. That way it's just easier to just stitch them together when it comes time. Especially with piecing together with some transitions. And that's for that I put in like text, photos, any other videos, stuff like that. Basically, I do usually do this thing where I'd line up all the videos together, and then I put in the music, which is, I try and use free for use music, and then I put in like other little effects or whatever I can find that are appropriate to the video. Because you don't really want to watch me like just sit in front of a camera and talk for a half hour, do you? I mean, seriously, I mean, I've done videos where I've done that, but those are pretty boring sometimes. I mean, does anyone really have the attention span to watch some guy just talking to the camera for an hour and a half? I don't think so. Anyway, I think my later reviews are better than the ones I used to do, where I just would do one take on a webcam or maybe a phone like this. Part of that is just me just getting used to the technology and editing it together and trying to get creative with it. But yeah, they're nothing compared to the ones that are done at the studio of marketing by producer and friend Peter Taylor, who taught me a lot about this video producing, which is great. And they recently tried to, Pullman Marketing did this thing where they bought some studio space. I've done a few videos in there, but not much. But perhaps in this holiday season I might do a few more. Anyway, I've had issues with Clipchamp as far as like exporting a file. If you're not familiar, generally after you piece a video together, you have to run it through this system that kind of like makes it more fluid. I don't even think I'm describing that really right, but I'm not really an expert, honestly. Anyway, it just basically takes all the pieces of your video and puts them in a cohesive whole with your music and text or whatever you put in it. Anyway, so occasionally I've discovered like I've got 10 to 15 gigabytes on my computer free space, and I think, oh, that's plenty of space for this video to export. And then I actually do it, and then suddenly like my Clipchamp tells me like I don't have any room on my computer, and then I look on my computer and discover I only have like, I don't know, 8 megabytes left, and I'm going like, what the heck? And then that's not the funniest part. I'll often restart my computer or do something else on my computer, and discover that I actually have 30 gigabytes on my computer. And I'm going like, what the heck? How does this work? So yeah, when it comes to my show, I spend a lot of time exporting these videos and not having them work, only for me to do it again, and then suddenly it does work. Yeah, and for this reason, that's why the first episode of this show, of The Geek Church, the show, was so bad, because I really tried to put in a lot of sound effects and stuff, and the audio just really went off at some point in time. I should probably take the time to redo that video, but honestly, I really got a lot of stuff to do. As some of you might remember, I used to have this thing on my videos where I'd have this whoosh sound every time I changed the scene. Thought it might be useful to keep the viewer's attention. I've discovered the longer the videos get, the more that whoosh sound gets really out of sync, and so I've just stopped using it. The problems I have with my computer are also the reason why that I did the letter series. I think it's episode 10. I had to do that in 3 parts because I just couldn't get my computer to stitch these 3 videos together. So I eventually just loaded up the 3 parts one at a time, and even that I had to I decided to just okay, here's part 1, it's like half an hour long, and I exported that, so I had a good copy of it, and I believe the audio and video turned out alright, although the audio does, because I was filming outside at the time, so a lot of wind resistance got in the way of the audio, so there's just things that I just kind of wish you could go back on and change. I also tried using this program called HitFilm Express, and I thought it looked pretty superior. I even paid some money for it, but I still couldn't get it to really work. Really would have came in handy for that episode 10, where I was stitching a few things here, 3 videos together, and I thought it was going to do it, and then at the end it just took so long to do it that I was like, oh, I had to get. You know, it is when a program is running so long, and you have this thing where it's like, why is it taking so long? Should I just sit and be patient for it, or should I just stop it and restart it again, because it was like maybe there's something, your mind does this stuff. Yeah, for me and new tech just don't really get along, and it's a huge burden for me. I mentioned I'm on the autism spectrum, and getting new things thrown at me are really hard for me to deal with on a daily basis. But hey, if you want to do good work, that's what you got to do. And of course, I forgot to mention something that I often forget to do in my videos, which is I just turn the video like this so I can do a TikTok. And yeah, I do forget to do that every once in a while, which is kind of a bummer because, TikTok videos are, I have 19,000 followers on my TikToks, but on YouTube I have 500. I don't know how to explain that, but it just happens. Anyway, let me talk about my show, the one that I do in this kind of format, which I try and introduce on TikTok. As far as the Geek Church, the show, is concerned, the reason why I started doing that is because I don't know. I think I just had this incident this summer where I had gallbladder surgery, and I was essentially bedridden for about a week. And several of those days, I really couldn't move, so I had a lot of time to think. And one of those things that I just thought about was what if I could do a show that just really highlights me, just me, and that was it. And I just started doing it the weekend following it, and have done it on a weekly or bi-weekly basis since then. So yeah, the show is pretty much me being me, and me searching for a meaning for this show. And I don't really talk about gadget reviews, but I do have more of a script. Those I do write every week. And part of the scripts is just me not being good at impromptu. It's different when I'm doing a gadget review, because with a gadget review, I'm describing my experience as it's happening, as I'm unboxing it and stuff like that. There's always something to talk about when I've got with that, and I'm usually not at a loss for words. But impromptu or extemporaneous things, I really suck at. There was a time I actually did sort of impromptu thing. This was back when Drew Carey's Whose Line Is It Anyway was really getting popular. Never again. So yeah, we intend to do a lot of reviews coming up in this next few months, this next few weeks. I'm hoping to average about a video a day here on this. And I really want to keep that energy going and keep it going until CES. And I'm definitely going to do something here kind of unusual. By end it, I mean just this episode. Now I'm signing off.